Papiamentu is believed to have taken shape between 1650 and 1700 here in Curaçao. And this delicious Kuki iced tuti, which is essentially a Dutch affogato with ice cream, espresso, and stroopwafel. Kuki comes from the Dutch koekje, meaning cookie. Same borrowing pattern as pushy from poesje. The Dutch diminutive je at the end of the word becomes e in Papiamentu, and the vowels shift to follow a pattern that's closer to Portuguese. And that's Papiamentu in a nutshell. A bunch of Dutch words, Portuguese grammar, Spanish vocabulary, West African structure, fused into something that's all its own. When languages come into contact, the grammar tends to be the most resistant to change. Vocabulary shifts much more easily. So whatever language provided the grammatical foundation, that structure was likely to persist even as words from other languages moved in. So the question is, why was it Portuguese? And this is genuinely complicated. Linguists still debate whether Portuguese or Spanish had more influence at the beginning. We may never know. The history of Curaçao is what gives us the most insight here. In the 1630s, ships came to Curaçao from West Africa, and enslaved people were processed and distributed from here across the Caribbean and South America. Now, the Portuguese had been trading on that same West African coast since the 1440s, so Portuguese-based Creole had already developed there. Many of the people who were brought here as enslaved laborers already had some level of familiarity with that Creole. But Portuguese was also arriving from other directions. In 1659, a community of Sephardic Jews was a significant part of the merchant class here. They had been expelled from Spain and Portugal in the late 1400s. They're mainly speaking Portuguese, both conducting business and interacting with the enslaved population and with Dutch administrators. So Dutch was the official language on paper, but the language people were actually using to talk to each other for trade and survival was closer to Portuguese. And that's why the grammar held even as the vocabulary shifted. Smuggling increased ties specifically with Spanish-speaking Venezuelans on the mainland, which might help explain the Spanish influence woven into Papiamentu alongside the Portuguese. Language can't help but carry all of its history with it.